In November 2002, China did sign a declaration with Asian states on a code of conduct concerning the South China Sea, but the agreement focused only on the broad confidence-building measures, not sovereignty and dispute settlement. The most important provision, however, is the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which came into full effect in 1994. Now, under this provision, countries are allowed to claim a 200-mile exclusive economic zone in which they may control access to fish and mineral deposits. Also within this provision, it is possible to temporarily suspend the right of passage, which is basically the right for non-military maritime vessels to cross into other countries' territories. Now, the International Court of Justice at the Hague is the main international body that deals with the law of the sea cases. However, no parties have gone to this court for fear of losing the argument. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, there is also an extension to the 200-mile exclusive economic zone. This area can be extended to a maximum of 350 nautical miles if the natural conditions related to the continental shelf satisfy certain criteria. However, the convention also stated that the rocks that cannot sustain human habitation or economic life on their own shall have no exclusive economic zone or continental shelf. China's newest city is a remote island in the South China Sea, barely large enough to host a single airstrip. Welcome to Shansha. Formally established in July of 2012, this city was created in the foreign administration to oversee not only this rugged outpost with a population of just 1,000 people, but also hundreds of thousands of square kilometers of water in the surrounding area, which likewise strengthens China's position in the South China Sea. The United States also voices concerns over these unilateral moves by China, and likewise the Philippines will not recognize the city or its jurisdiction, and Vietnam has declared this a violation of international law. However, according to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, did China really violate any practicing laws? In order to justify its claims, China has attempted to rewrite history and supposedly has a 2,000-year-old Han Dynasty map that indicates the limits of the Chinese Empire, and it even includes the Philippines. However, even if this did exist, the Philippines have changed hands many times over the centuries, and China has decided not to claim it again until now. This argument makes as much sense as Italy claiming much of Western Europe and North Africa because at a previous point in their early history they once belonged to the Roman Empire. Although historically a land-based empire, China has based its sacred and inalienable claim on historical records dating back some 2,000 years ago that the Spratly Islands has always been a part of China. At the core of the sovereignty dispute lies the so-called Nine-Dash Line. This U-shaped line indicates China's claim to over 80% of the South China Sea. Although it was created in 1947, it did not seek global attention until May 2009 when China made an official note of the Nine-Dash Line. Furthermore, China has been eyeing out the South China Sea since at least the early 1990s, believing that it will be a place for resources to nourish China's economy in the coming century. Likewise, there's also the issue with Taiwan, as the conflict between the two Chinas, both the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China. Taiwan maintains a small military presence at Abai, which is the largest of the Spratly Islands, and the South China Sea area is crucial to them because it's a vital shipping lane and the area is abundant of fish. Therefore, that's very China fought more recently with Vietnam than with any other country. Vietnam has a history of resisting Chinese dominance since the late 10th century. On July 1st, hundreds of people joined a rare protest in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City against China's assertion of claims in the Spratly and Paracel Islands. In February 2011, Vietnamese protested over a Chinese military drill near the Spratly Islands, claiming that the exercise was a violation of its sovereignty over the area. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei are all Islamic countries and are culturally and ethnically diverse, with growing economies, which means they have a direct interest in the oil reserves in the South China Sea. Indonesia is also the most populous Islamic country, and in 1995, the Indonesians were shocked when a Chinese delegate produced a map showing that the Natuna Fields Unlike the countries of mainland Southeast Asia, which was exposed to Chinese influence to a varying degree over their histories, the Philippines remain untouched by Chinese culture due to their location east of major trade routes from India to China. Also due to the heavy amount of colonization by Western countries such as the Spanish, which left their imprint indefinitely on Filipino culture when you look at their language and their religion. Because of this, Chinese culture and customs seem very foreign to Filipinos who have their own distinct national identity, and to a degree are prejudiced against Chinese immigrants who do not quickly assimilate into the Filipino culture. Also, because of these strong Western influences, you have the Philippines that is more culturally tied to the US and other Western countries than it ever could be to China.